Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is Happy, Season 2, Episode 1, The War on Easter. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this. I've been waiting for this episode, or for this series, to start back up again, and so glad that it has. It is so wrong. You know what? I didn't rewatch season 1 at all. I know it's on Netflix. So for those of you out there who are wondering what the fuck Happy is, go and watch it on Netflix, season 1. See if it's your cup of tea first before you start off on season 2. Because season 2 can be, season 2 starts off kind of messy. That's all I'm going to say. But season 1 is, yeah, if you don't like it, you're not going to like season 2. Let's just say that, okay? It's a very particular brand of humor. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. It's not Grant Morrison, but Garth Ennis. Yeah. So it is way the hell out there. This is taken from a comic book, Derek Robertson and Garth Ennis. So it is very, very, very super wrong on this. Yeah, Penn Farm Girl says I binged the whole first season a couple of weeks ago. It was an unplanned binge. I just couldn't stop. Yeah, it's a very, very wrong thing. So before I get started here, I might as well just do this just because I'm probably going to let some shit fly anyway. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the shit out of this episode. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it and then come on back. This will be a video and you can comment down in the comment section down below. So yes, it is wrong in all the right ways. Thank you, Scup the Leather Up by Viking Bitch, for the paddle. And yeah, I was kind of in a quandary here. I didn't know what thumbnail to put up. I had another thumbnail with a chainsaw and all that stuff, but I didn't want to get a copyright strike because, you know, I've been copyright free since 2018. Woohoo! So there we go. Hey, Ghost of Obscurity. All right, so let's get started here. So we start off, as always. What was that? Too soon, Morks? Do you think it was too soon? Man. Yeah. I might talk about that on Saturday. Who knows? But anyway, so let's get to Happy and go to a happy place. How about that? So we start off with some nuns in a circle praying and crying. And we see they all have C4. They have vests of C4 strapped to them. And we see some deranged guy in a leather mask with ears, some bunny ears, and a pink eye, just kind of staring. We always see is the pink eye. And he's watching over them. And one of the nuns is saying that, you know, we're all going to die together. We'll be in a good place. This is fine. And you know, one of the nuns gets up and bolts and just starts running. And the other ones get up and start running. And they're running into crowds of people. They're in New York. They are knocking over. They go into what looks like a street fair or something like that, where people are selling some stuff. And they're knocking tables over and just going ape shit for some reason. And then we see one of the original nun who bolted sees a trash can and makes a beeline for it. We see something glowing inside of it. So she makes a beeline for the trash can. The other nun that, you know, was telling her that they're going to be in a better place follows her and tackles her, and they start fighting. And I mean, like, we're talking full on, you know, punching each other, kicking each other in the stomachs, that kind of thing. And so the original nun that was making the beeline for the garbage can makes it there, and she pulls out a gigantic Easter egg that's glowing, a pink Easter egg that's wrapped in cellophane. And she opens it up and we find out it's a detonator. And she has a detonator and we see her kind of shaking and she pushes in some buttons and then we hear all the vests start beeping. And she's like, oh God. And then we start seeing nuns exploding. I mean, just going up and just exploding. And the only one that doesn't explode is the one who pushed the button. Basically the one who put everything in. Yeah, she gets to watch all the other nuns die. So some pretty fucked up stuff to start off with. So we see Nick sleeping in the nude. And Happy, of course, turns on some kids' music really, really loud to wake him up and is dancing and everything. And he's happy that, well, happy is happy as he normally is, that Nick is now clean. He's stopped drinking. He's not doing any drugs. He's not shooting anybody anymore. He's not killing anybody. So he's in a good place now at this point. And we could tell that Nick is in a bad way because he's using that breath spray a lot, spraying it into his mouth. And even Happy goes, "Your breath smells so fresh. Why is that?" Because, of course, it has alcohol in it. So, yeah. So he ends up at an AA meeting. We watch them walking across the street, and of course, we have a good little midnight cowboy moment there where "I'm walking here, I'm walking here," is Happy saying to the cab driver as they're walking across the street. And of course, the cab driver cannot see Happy at all, doesn't care one way or the other. And Nick ends up at an AA meeting where some woman is trying to tell some big secret, and Nick is just making noise in the background, pumping out coffee. And Happy's like, "Look, Nick, there's a bear claw." And it's just so wrong. The woman just keeps getting interrupted by Nick doing this. He's like, "Just let it fly, honey. That's what I said. Just let the truth out. It's gotta be, it's gotta be." And Happy's like, "This place is so depressing." And everyone's just saying, he's just here for the coffee kind of thing. So he's really not there to share. He really is just there for the coffee and the donuts. Because Nick is on it's kind of funny. Nick was already on a downward spiral in season one, but he kind of is hovering where he was, and maybe he's moved up half a step, something like that. But yeah, it's some really weird shit that he's at. So we see him outside of a liquor store, almost licking the glass to the liquor store there, and Happy's just telling him how come he's so proud of him that he hasn't drank or anything like that and done drugs. He goes, "But you sure drink a lot of cough syrup because you might want to get that looked at if you're that sick." Because of course, this is how Nick is getting his alcohols, through cough syrup and breath freshener. So he walks out into the street and almost gets run over by a bicyclist who calls him an asshole. And so Nick all of a sudden starts fantasizing about killing bicyclists, chopping off their heads using a chainsaw and all kinds of different things. And of course, we come back to reality, and it's just a whole bunch of bikers that are going past him, calling him an asshole. And we see Happy kind of pulls up to him and he flies up next to him and goes, "Your imagination is a pretty effed up place to live in. You know that, right?" And yeah, Nick's just like, "Yeah, whatever, man. Let's just go." His alarm goes off. "Oh, we got to go. We're late." So we see Nick outside of Haley's school, and he's talking to all the moms there about recipes and all this stuff. And Haley comes out, and he's like, "Hey, Haley, how's it going? You know what time it is and all this kind of stuff." And she goes, "The teacher wants to see you." It's like, well, why? Why does she want to see me? So we go in and we find out that Haley has been acting out in school. She says she knows that Haley has been through a lot of trauma with what happened to her Christmas, and that she is acting out in certain ways. She's breaking windows, pulling fire alarms, psychologically harassing other girls, that kind of thing. And she's met, of course, Haley's mother, but now she knows that Nick is probably the problem because Nick is not, of course, altogether there. And Nick is also talking to Happy at the same time. So this woman is trying to talk to him, and he's talking to Happy and her at the same time. And he finally gets some persecution. He realizes that what she's talking about is that Haley needs to get either some professional help or goes to another school where she can get a little more discipline. And at this point, how long is the time lapse with season one? It's Easter, so we've got Christmas to Easter, so only a couple of months. Yeah. And we end up having Nick fly off the handle and basically just telling this woman, I know people like you. You're always attacking people, and he just starts going into disparaging things about her, and even says, if you just let your hair down and wore a little makeup, you wouldn't be half bad looking. And Happy has to remind, like, no, don't do that. That is wrong. And the teacher finally says, no, you know what needs to happen here is that Haley needs to attend the Catholic school for troubled girls. And she gives him a pamphlet. He's like, oh, fuck. All right. So we cut back over to the Vatican now, and we see Sunny Shine with some disco lights in the Vatican and pumping out his music that he's always, dancing to and all this stuff. And he is pitching to the Pope that Easter is boring. Easter needs to be rebranded. Easter needs to rival Christmas at this point. And as he puts it, Easter needs to be make Easter great again, or mega, as he calls it, which I thought was pretty damn funny. So, and after his pitch, he leans down and kisses the Pope's ring, and the Pope looks at him and says, "I like it." So they're gonna rebrand Easter at this point. Yeah, Sunny Shine is a very creepy fucking dude. That's all I can say. And is a great villain. I still love a Very Bad Santa, but yeah, he's very creepy. So the next thing we get is this weird montage of Wyoming, like postcards and things like that, and we see Frankie Scaramucci like riding a bull and all this stuff, and then we find out it's a dream sequence, what's going on, and it turns decidedly dark, and we start seeing him riding a bull in hell, and then probably being ridden by Satan himself from behind, and all this stuff, and he wakes up, and we see him pick up his glasses, and he looks, and he's in the bottom bunk of his cell, and sitting on the toilet is this very large cellmate who is looking at him and says, "I just wanted you to know that what you did last night was very beautiful. You were wonderful last night." And of course, he's taking a big dump. We can hear it happening. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. So Frankie is out in the prison yard. He's eating a sandwich and kind of walks out, sits down on top of the stone steps, and people start surrounding him. And it's the Russian mafia at this point, and they're harassing him, and they're sending him a message, and they stuff something down the back of his jumpsuit. And he's like, "What the hell is that?" We can hear it kind of skittering, and he gets it out of his pant leg, and it's a cockroach. And of course, the Russian mobster tells him it's a message from the bug. So the bug still has his reaches within the prison itself. Yeah. Wow. And then we have Amanda. Amanda is working, of course, as a dental hygienist, and she's working in a children dentist office. So, of course, what does he have on the TV but the Sunny Shine show? And she is having some major PTSD issues because of PTSD, issues. If you can remember, she was trapped in that room for a while with all the people in leather and the weird alien creatures or whatever it was covered in KY jelly, I guess it was, and they were all kind of writhing around. So she was in there for a couple of hours. And yes, she does have a lot of PTSD to deal with. And she asked the dentist if they can turn that off. And he's like, "What? What do you mean? Kids love this. They love the Sunny Shine show." And she's like, "Oh, I'm out of here." And she's walking out there. She meets Nick and Haley, and she sees from the look on Haley's face that something's wrong. And Haley tells her, that the teacher had a little talk with Nick, and of course, everything went wrong. Excuse me. And that basically she's going to have to attend that Catholic school. So Amanda takes Nick outside to go and talk to him and says, the school costs $40,000 a year to attend, right? And of course, Nick did not know that. He didn't look at it because, of course, he doesn't agree with her. And he starts saying that the teacher basically was doing a witch hunt and all this kind of stuff. And Haley says, "No, I did. I pulled all that stuff. I pulled the fire alarm. It was me. I did all that stuff." So, yeah, it is a big cry for help from Haley. And we see that none of them have gotten any help after this. They kind of just moved on like nothing happened. And honestly, there was a lot of shit that happened in that last season that I'm kind of surprised no one. I mean, that's what I kind of liked about this episode is they showed that everything that happened in the first season had some consequences. It's not like, "Oh, okay, we're all done." Yeah, they all need therapy. They are damaged people at this point because there was a lot of fucked up shit that happened to them. You just don't walk away from that kind of stuff. Kind of like Die Hard. All the people that went through all that stuff, including McClane and Holly and all that stuff, they need to go through some major therapy. You don't just go into the next step, next movie and go, okay, everything's good. Yeah, we're good again. Yeah. I mean, you fucking swear off Christmas at that point. So we have the surviving nun is in the police station there, and she's being interrogated by these really, the two detectives that were actually dirty before, but have somehow survived and are still there, and they're making jokes about the nuns exploding and all this kind of stuff. And we find out from the nun that basically this guy told them that whoever reached the detonator first, whatever vest was closest to the detonator was the only one that would explode. Of course, he lied to them. The vest that was closest to the detonator was the only one that would not explode. And whatever nun had pushed the button would be the one to watch all the other nuns die. And of course, the cops don't believe her. They say that, oh, yeah, sure, right. Who is this guy? So they start asking, who is it? And she's like, we're not supposed to say his name. We're not supposed to. And then she finally starts describing him that he was in this black leather suit, black like licorice, and it had ears, and he had one pink bunny eye. He calls himself the Bunny. Excuse me. So yeah, we find out that the mystery guy's name is the Bunny at this point. Some pretty messed up shit in all of this. Then we meet a character named Scooter Sterling, who is putting together a charity, and some money is missing from that charity. And his assistant says, yeah, they're talking about, well, they want to know what the hell happened to that money. He goes, the kids are getting what they need, kind of thing. And again, it involves kids. Yeah, this is just really kind of bad. And of course, Scooter sees a young girl across the way, and he goes, you know what? I've got some business I have to attend to. And he goes and follows this woman that's wearing some short shorts and just a regular t-shirt. And he follows her into the building and follows her back into this room. And she's looking very scared because behind him, of course, is the Bunny. And Scooter's saying, I like it rough. And as he puts it, he goes, I like a lot of teeth down there. And my safe word is Tallahassee. And of course, the Bunny grabs him from behind with a rag over his nose and mouth and abducts him. So Meredith, if you remember Detective Meredith McCarthy, she is no longer on the force anymore. She is now selling homes. And we see her bring a couple into a house. And she's showing this really nice house, the way everything is all put up there. And she goes, I do have to disclose, though, there was a triple murder that happened in this house. Someone broke in, triple murder, guts everywhere. She goes, I just had to tell you, it's full disclosure on this. But chances of that happening again, of someone breaking in again, few and far between. And she goes, and also, I think the owners would be willing to come down the price a little bit. So you're getting a really good deal. And all of a sudden the toilet flushes upstairs. And she goes, oh, that's the self-flushing toilet. I'm going to have that fixed. Why don't you guys leave? I'm going to go take a look at that. And she hustles them out of the house and then grabs a gigantic knick-knack that's sitting off on the side there, something heavy. And who is it, of course, up in the bathroom but Nick? Nick is taking a shower in some very dirty water, a bath in some very dirty water. And of course, Happy gets, pushed under the water and right to Nick's crotch and sees everything. And of course, tries to bleach out his eyes. I can't unsee it. Yeah. And it turns out he's been squatting in places that Meredith has been selling. She goes, that was you in the condo. So yeah, more naked Nick. We always see Nick naked. It's a lot of naked Nick. And by the way, if you haven't seen episode or season 1, there's a lot of fucking naked Nick. That's all I'm going to say. There's no way of getting around it. The ass scene alone in one of the episodes, it scarred me. So I think they did that on purpose just so you can get a little PTSD yourself on that. And yeah, you can't unsee it. And I think that Christopher Maloney really likes doing these scenes. He seems to really relish them. If I get to Comic-Con or I can get into that panel, That's one of the things I'm going to ask him about. I'm going to ask him if those are his favorite scenes of being nude or not. Because quite honestly, I'm fairly sure the answer is yes on that. Oh God. So he tells her that he's been clean for weeks, and yeah, she asks him, does he ever think about what happened to them? And he's like, no, 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 never, not at all. And he basically kind of brushes it off. So we know Nick is very affected by this, and it's just been kind of brushing things aside, obviously. And then she goes, well, do you ever think about killing Sunny Shine? And he's like, no. He goes, that guy's gone. He goes, he's out of the picture. He's gone out of here. And we also find out that she was the only dirty cop on Sunny Shine's payroll to get ousted out of the force. Everyone else retained their jobs except for her. She was the only one that didn't make it. And then we have Happy calls Nick. He's looking in the mirror, and he's having little body changes going on. We don't know exactly what's happening, but he's getting a little, and Nick's like, what do you want? And he goes, oh, nothing. And he covers over his body. So Happy's going through a couple of different changes here. So in the meantime, Frankie Scaramucci gets he's in prison, of course. And yeah, little Happy's getting hair in places he never had before. So, wrong BB, he's watching again. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat too here as I'm doing this. So Scaramucci gets a visit from his sister Isabella in prison. Of course, she's behind the glass there. And she decides to tell him, she goes, you been having bad dreams, Frankie, huh? It's a gift, is what she says, that she's made a deal. She's getting her Mikey back. And that Mikey, it wasn't a password that Mikey was carrying. It was an old soul that he was carrying. That's what got passed to him, was an old soul. And that the old soul was actually Horgus, the god of death. So Grandma is there, and we find out that Frankie keeps hearing this clicking sound. He's like, what's that noise? What's that noise? She goes, I don't know what you're hearing. It's nothing there's around here. She goes, just you. And he all of a sudden switches personalities, and we find out that Horgus is inside of him, but the transfer is kind of incomplete. And as Grandma says, it's kind of like a incomplete upload, as she puts it, which Grandma's a little bit savvy for her age, and she knows who he is. She basically tells him that he's Horgus, the god of death, and that he's been jumping from body to body in the Scaramucci family for generations. She goes, but this is the end of the line. He's basically stuck in Frankie's body because he's not going to get to jump to Isabella, because Isabella's going to die. And Isabella's like, that's right, you fuck, you're going to suck a dick because I'm going to die. She goes, what? And that's when Grandma unleashes the knitting needles and stabs her in the ear, and then just starts stabbing her in the, oh my God, it's just blood everywhere. And I was like, holy shit. I knew that she wasn't coming back. I know she's only going to be in one episode for this season, but I didn't expect her to go out that way. Yeah, Viking bitch, I was not prepared for Grandma to kill Isabella with that knitting needle. I mean, it was pretty gruesome. And of course, Scaramucci and Horgus cannot do anything at all because they're on the other side of the glass. So that's it for her. So Nick, of course, doesn't know anything about Uber. We found this out from the teacher because he told her that he's a cab driver. And she goes, well, haven't you like Uber? And he goes, what's Uber? And then he talks to Happy. He goes, oh, it's an app. It's an app. Yeah, I know what that is. So we see Nick driving his cab and complaining about needing to make enough money to pay for the school. That he can't keep his head above water and everything. California's starting to look good. And he goes, maybe I should start killing people again. And suddenly the guy in the back seat says, you can let me off here. And Nick's like, well, wait a minute. Didn't you want to go uptown? He goes, no, here's good. Here's good. And he just throws some money at Nick, and the guy bolts out of the car. And of course, Happy is egging him on, making that paper. And we hear a woman scream in the distance. And we see this woman running. And of course, Nick isn't paying any attention to any of this at all. And he's thinking again about going back and killing people and maybe going to California. We don't know. He's got all these different plans. And This weird guy gets in the back of his car and he goes, "I need to find a woman." He goes, "Yeah, don't we all?" kind of thing. And he goes, "No, I got to take her to this party." He goes, "There's $1,000 in it if you can get me a woman." So Nick's like, "All right, cool." He drives off. He picks up his prostitute friend that he knows, and they're taking him to this abandoned warehouse kind of looking place. And he decides, he goes, "You know what? I'm going to go in with you because this looks kind of sketchy a little bit." Because the guy asks her at one point, he goes, "What blood type are you?" And yeah, she just kind of looks at him funny. And they're walking in, and she goes, "You know what? I just need to blow everybody and get it over with." Is what she tells them. That's all we need to do. Is what she tells Nick. Yes, it's very, very crass, but man, there's a lot of weird shit in this show. That's all I'm going to say. So we get inside and we see a couple of Asian people, literally a Hasidic Jew with the clothing and the hair, the rings and whatnot, and two other people. It's very weird, a very weird mishmash of people, and it's in this open warehouse. And the Asian woman walks up to her and hands her a hospital gown and says, "You put this on." And Nick's like, "Do you want me to stick around? This looks a little sketchy." And she's like, "Nick, get the hell out of here. I can't work with you here. You're making things weird." Yeah. So she goes, "Wait for me outside." So Nick goes outside, and he, of course, something's bugging him, and he tells Happy, he goes, "Why don't you go inside and see if anything funny's going on?" And Happy's like, "Funny, haha." And he goes, "No, no, the other kind of funny." So, of course, Happy goes and flies in. He flies through the whole warehouse. And he comes back and tells Nick that they got this big tub of ice, but no soda in it. And there's this guy who's yellow, hooked up to a juice box, to a big juice box. And Nick's like, "Asian? You mean," he goes, "Yellow? You mean like Chinese guy?" And of course, Happy's like, "That's very racist, Nick. You can't say that. No, he's just yellow." And that's when Nick comes in, and we realize that the prostitute's being strapped down to the gurney because they're going to harvest her liver and kidneys, more than likely. Yeah, and so Nick decides to use his words to try and diffuse everything. And excuse me, we see a guy in the background picking up an axe and walking towards Nick, which is not a good sign. He swings it at Nick, and Nick dodges it, of course, grabs the axe, swings the guy around, and throws him right into the tine of a forklift, stomach first. The guy gets impaled on it. He's like, "No, no, no. Accidents happen in the workplace." He goes, I didn't mean to do that." He goes, "I'm sorry. Here, let's get you off of there." And he's trying to get the guy off the forklift. And he finally does. And the guy is just spewing blood everywhere out of his stomach. And the second guy comes at Nick with the axe. And the blood has slicked the ground now at this point. So Nick is sliding back and forth. And so is the guy who's swinging the axe at him. And he keeps missing Nick as they're sliding. And Nick activates the forklift while the guy is down and runs over the guy and kind of bursts him open as well. So there's more blood that comes out. And he's not trying to kill people. It's happening. Yeah. We need to handle this like adults with words, negotiation, compromise. And finally he goes, "You know what? Fuck it," at this point. Uh, And Happy's like, "You promised you wouldn't kill anybody." He goes, "I don't have any guns. There's no bullets. I'm not shooting anybody. It's just an axe. He came at me with an axe." And yeah, finally he gets, everything stops. He actually hooks one guy up to the hook to kind of keep him upright, the first guy who got impaled, and accidentally activates the lift, which ends up choking the guy and hanging him out, and his entrails kept falling out. The Hasidic Jew who's sitting off on the side there, he asked him, he goes, "Hey," he goes, "So how much is a liver worth there?" And he goes, "A pancreas." He goes, $500. He goes, "Kidney? Oh, kidneys can be worth up to $100,000 in the right condition." And he goes, "Holy crap, I'm standing in the middle of a gold mine." And he pulls up a kidney and it's got a bullet hole, like a hole in it. And he goes, "So how much for one of these?" So he has an idea now of going into the body parts business. Because, of course, he needs to make some money in order to get Haley into that Catholic girls' school. So very wrong. That's all I'm going to say. So we see Meredith we see Haley, excuse me, wake up from a bad dream. And Amanda says, "Oh, what was it? Was it a bad dream?" And Haley's like, "No, nothing. I don't remember." And Amanda's telling her, "It's all right. You can tell me about these things. And just to let you know, all the bad people that all this stuff happened to, they're either gone or in jail." And she says, "Everyone?" And Amanda says, "Yes, everyone." And then we see outside the house, and who's standing outside staring at their house but the bunny? Yeah. And then we see Meredith come home and to her place, to her small apartment. And what does she have strewn all over the apartment? But she is tracking these murders that are happening. And she has all the different pictures of all the different murder victims and string attaching to them. Looks like a crazy person's house because, of course, it does belong to a crazy person. So we see the bunny come back to a warehouse where he's got Scooter, a naked and ball gagged Scooter in a cage, and he's flipping on the lights. And we see Scooter crying and bent over and whatnot. It's a big cage too that he's in. He's not in one of those dog cages like we saw in the Deadly Class. I mean, honestly, dog cages are starting to run into a theme here in these shows that I'm watching, which is kind of disturbing me too. And of course, who's there to greet the bunny but Sunny Shine? And Sunny's like, "Oh, you've been busy, you know?" He starts asking, he goes, "So whatever happened to that cop?" He goes, "You had her kicked off the force, remember?" "And what happened to that big smelly guy?" He goes, "Nick Sachs?" "I don't know. I don't know what happened to him." He goes, "You've been kind of busy. You want to get back into the business? You want to get any revenge?" And the guy's like, the bunny says, I don't deal in revenge. Because I have my own work that interests me." And then he pulls off his suit, his hat, or whatever you call it, his mask, and we see that it's Smoothie. Smoothie is the one who is the bunny, and his eye is because he got shot in the eye, so he has a pink eye going on there, and that's where we leave off. Yeah, kind of a fucked up first episode, but I wouldn't have it any other way with Happy. Quite honestly, the nun thing at the very beginning, um, kind of didn't feel right in tone, so it was kind of disturbing for me anyway. But then it kind of moved into other stuff. So I don't know how the season's going to play out. Hopefully, this season picks up the magic that it had from the first season, because that first season was, I mean, well, honestly, the first season was adapted completely from the book with some stuff added in, but to pad it to make it bigger, of course. But yeah, that was some really good stuff. Brent Spiner. Brent Spiner wasn't in this, Osara. Oh, Viking Bitch says, "Too bad Stormy didn't get to watch tonight." Yeah, Stormy doesn't have SyFy channel, unfortunately. Yes, I can never unsee it. Cordell Fenival says, "Haha, I'm just picturing it because I haven't watched it yet, but I can't get rid of the grin on my face while listening to Dennis recap the episode." Thank you. Yeah, man, this is a great series, man, and the actors involved as well. Um, I'm hoping Catherine Lafrere. I know she actually does make an appearance again in this season. She told us so. So uh, I actually talk to her on Facebook every now and then. So she's one of the people who plays the Sussex the wives of Sussex County, something like that. Basically, like the wives of Beverly Hills, but only for Sussex County. That was the TV show within the TV show from the first season. So hopefully that's gonna be kind of cool. Ghosted Obscurity says, "This sounds like an interesting show. I've been told to watch it before. Guess I have to start now." Hey, the first season is up on Netflix, so go and watch it. See what you think. It's very, very, very twisted. That's all I can say. The Sussex Sirens. Thank you, Pen Farm Girl. Yes, she's one of the Sussex Sirens. I can't say that all that quickly either. And yes, I'm excited for Anne Margaret as well. Anne Margaret is going to be very cool. I guess she didn't realize what she was getting into, and then once she started doing it, her and Christopher Maloney became really good friends in this, and she just grabbed it with both hands and both legs and just is riding this train along with them and decided to be just I think she caught Christopher Maloney's virus that he has for the show as well. I've seen some of the behind the scenes on this, and she looks like she's just having a blast. And that's actually what I want to see, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Especially since I don't know what kind of character she's playing. If she's a good character or an evil character. My guess she's gonna play an evil character. Or morally ambiguous, one of the two. Who knows? So what else do we have? Yes, my safe word is not Tallahassee. So that's all I'm gonna say. Oh, excuse me. Man, this cough just needs to go. Cordell Fenival says, because of the particular type of humor, it just occurs to me what a cool crossover would Future Man and Happy be. I maybe. You know what? For me, I think that Future Man's a little more innocent than Happy, just a smidge more innocent than Happy. Happy is very deranged. When The Boys comes out, which is again Derek Robertson and Garth Ennis on Amazon, I think those are the two you're going to see the big crossover between because oh god, The Boys when it comes out on Amazon, that's going to be something huge. Oh, Viking, but you remember what my safe word is. That's kind of good. Oh, that's funny. You just did that because you knew it was going to make me laugh. That's all it was. So, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the like button. If you don't like what you see, hit the dislike button. I don't mind, just as long as you leave down the comment section why you disliked it. Give me some constructive criticism. Not that you suck, you motherfucker, because I hear that at work 20 times a day, and honestly, I don't pay any attention to them either. So, also, if you want to know when I'm be on live again, hit that bell. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again because it unclicks it. You get a 50-50 shot of YouTube actually notifying you when I'm going to be on live again. So, there you go. You can also find my schedule up on suspendedfanimation.com, and you can also find it on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, and I'm also on Twitter as well. So I'm on all of those things. There we go. Osara says, sorry, that's Christopher Fitzgerald. I thought it was Spiner. Oh, you mean for Smoothie? Yes. Was that who you're talking about? I am everywhere. I am everywhere yet nowhere. How's that for existentialism? If you're still on the cusp of, you don't know if you're on the fence about joining up, take a look. There's going to be a video up here that actually takes all the algorithms of all the stuff that you've watched, and it's going to pluck the one video from my library that you might like and throw it up there. If you like what you see, then take a look and hit the subscribe button over on this side. You'll see that there too. Oh, Sunny Shine. There we go. Confirm girl. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I don't know the name of the actors other than Christopher Maloney on there. So, and yes, I am almost at 200. I'm at 190 subscribers. Thank you all for joining up. Those of you who've joined up. But tomorrow, since I don't have Gotham to review for a little while, for the next 3 more weeks, I am going to do a spoiler-free review of Shazam. I got to see Shazam on Saturday night. So I'm going to do a little spoiler-free review of Shazam. I figured, why not? Shazam! And Friday, of course, is going to be Doom Patrol. If you haven't watched Doom Patrol, sign up for the free trial, man, for the DC Universe free trial and see what you think of Doom Patrol. Because honestly, it is shaping up to be one of the best shows on TV right now. Saturday, I have Saturday morning blast off. Saturday. And that is where I take the genre news of the week, talk about all of that, and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about in the chat. So that's pretty much the free for all there. Yes, SBO as we call it. It should really be SMBO, but that sounds a little bit wrong, SMBO. But SBO, I think, is a lot better than SMBO. Because S&M is just a different thing altogether. And S&MBO, I think, might be taken for something else. Might be. Sunday, I don't have anything going on. And then Monday, we are going to be finishing off Future Man Season 2 with episode 13. And then I'm going to have to find something else to watch there and plug it in. Actually, I'm pretty sure I know what's coming up. I am going to be covering Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is going to be on Sunday, so that's going to be plugged into a Sunday slot on the 14th of April. And what else? We have The Tick. The Tick is coming out as well on Amazon Prime. I'm going to be covering that as well. I'm going to go episode by episode on The Tick, Season 2. Yes, I am sad to see Future Man go as well. That's why I've been dragging it out as long as I can. But you know what? Got to let it go at that point. And I will be picking up some other stuff. I am going to take a look at, I've got What We Do in the Shadows recorded. So I'm going to see what that looks like. It just happens to play at the same time as Happy. And quite honestly, Happy takes precedence over What We Do in the Shadows. So, yes, I love The Tick as well, Viking Bitch. It's a great show. Really great show. Court of Interval says, really enjoyed the last episode of Doom Patrol, that change of tone and pace. Yeah, and I believe they're going to therapy for this week's episode, if I'm not mistaken. Ghosted Obscurity says, wait a second, What We Do in the Shadows, the movie? Did I hear that? No, What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series. It's based on the movie. It's on FX. Yeah. So they actually did, and all the players are involved in it as well. I believe that Watiti directed the first episode, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It is a new series. Matt Berry is in it. I don't know who Matt Berry is, unfortunately, Viking Bitch. I'm bad now with names, and I know I'm getting older now at this point. I'm like, who's that person? I don't know who that person is. Should I know who that person is? All right, Dad. So again, thank you all for joining me here in the chat and listening to me ramble on about this show. He's a very funny British actor. Okay. And again, take a look at the video up here. Hit the subscribe button. I'm going to let you guys go for the evening. Thank you again for joining me. And I will see you all tomorrow for Shazam spoiler-free review. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, the bunny may abduct you and try to take your organs. Good night, everybody.